You can hear music in the background, and yes, they still have a lot of good entertainment at the Farm Progress Show. Hello again, everyone. Michael Ryan reporting from Decatur. In fact, right now we're at the Farm Credit Services of Illinois exhibit. That's where the music's coming from. And we're going to visit with Senior Vice President of Farm Credit Services, Tom Tracy. Tom is also editor of Interesting Times. Now, those of you that are customers, and I know many of you are aware that that's part of their quarterly newsletter. So, Tom, let's begin with Interesting Times. In agriculture, and especially this week, it's been an interesting time.
It sure has. You know, there's an old Chinese saying, may you live in interesting times. I've often thought about that in the last couple of months. Is that a little apropos here? It's certainly been a little more interesting than we would like. Interest rates are up significantly, and we've got a ways to go, it looks like. We're probably going to see another 50 basis points, a half a percentage point in movement across the board on the interest rate curve here just within the next 60 days. September in particular is going to be a very volatile month. So if you've got some farmland purchases out there, maybe you've got a short-term rate or a floating rate, it's a good time to look at locking that rate in. Talk to your local farm credit lender about that and get some advice. I'll tell you, we've got a Fed meeting coming up in September where they're widely expected to announce that they'll begin to taper off their quantitative easing program. That, of course, will be something that will allow rates to move up even further. We've got potentially a new Fed chairman candidate being named in September. We've got a debt ceiling debate coming up. Europe's got issues. We've got the issues in Syria and Egypt. I know it sounds like it's a long way from agriculture, but boy, these things have a direct impact on the farm when you're talking about interest expense.
Certainly they do, and I think everyone knows that agriculture depends on the entire globe, not just within our borders as we used to think many years ago. Also this week, and you talk about interest rates and so forth and so on, we've had grain prices just all over the place following the report earlier. We've got an extremely hot, dry weather pattern that's in effect at this point, and that's certainly going to affect the mood of farmers and certainly then affect yields, and then it comes around to affecting you.
Yes, it does. You know, we look like we had just a gangbuster crop out here, and I guess relative to last year we still do, but you're right, the weather patterns come off dry here in the last couple of weeks, and USDA's taken a little bit of the air out of the balloon here on us recently. We've seen some prices begin to move back up, but by any measure, we're still going to have a large crop. It would be lovely to get a couple of rains here, especially to just finish out the making of this crop, but it's certainly had some downward price pressure. I think the real story will be what happens next year. Do we see another large crop, which further reinforces and cures our carryover issue that we've had over the last few years with a real short, tight carryover?
Let me close with this final question. I always heard over the years in talking with financial people like yourself and some from different banks that a farmer needs to certainly stay in close touch with his lender. Is that still the case?
Absolutely. Right now, I would say more so than any time. We've got so many variables: political, interest rate, and then of course the gross income that we just talked about related to commodity prices. Please utilize your crop insurance agent at Farm Credit, your loan officer at Farm Credit, and get them out on the farm or come on in and see us, and let's sit down and talk about all these issues and what we can do to help you mitigate those risks.
Tom Tracy, Senior Vice President of Farm Credit Services of Illinois, our guest, reporting from the Farm Progress Show in Decatur. I'm Mike Ryan.